awesome. So that was like the first 6 months of our business. So our core platform was, the thesis was, let's build a widget sharing and tracking platform. So the unit that people were sharing were widgets, which were micro applications, and that gave birth to like the app space and the viral video space. But that was like the first kind of foray. We grew pretty quickly. In the first year, we went from 0 to 100 million unique users. We thought that was a pretty big deal. And there's a company called Rocky who actually became a pretty big app developer who basically helped destroy our system. They were a big widget developer before there were apps. One of the things we realized was that a lot of people were using our tools, publishers, not just to share widgets. They were embedding our tools onto their websites to share links. The feed was becoming more important. Twitter was kind of coming out, and there was a time when it was like nothing. But we made a big bet and said, look, it's not about the widget, which is the noun. We were a very widget-centric company. It's about the verb, which is sharing, widget sharing and tracking. So we pivoted. We acquired a company called AddThis. They had a distribution point for sharing tools. You probably have seen them around. Maybe you don't even know that you're using them or seeing them. Little orange plus button with like the sharing icons or sharing buttons, and basically it was like little simple self-serve distribution site, AddThis.com, and a really simple set of tools for sharing links. And we thought, wow, if we take all the money that we raised, we take the analytic engine we built for tracking widgets and our sharing backend, we can really supercharge this. So that was like the next step in the evolution in terms of the platform. So combined at the time in 2008, we reached about 200 million unique users that saw and used our tools. So we thought that was pretty good. Now let's go to the business model part, which is always a fun part. So our model at the time was, okay, you can either use our tools and pay us, and we're not going to do anything with advertising. So we had huge customers, Disney, NBC, like same types of people that he was talking about, and they were paying us a lot of money. Or let us advertise. And our whole theory was let's advertise, either in the widgets or the widgets themselves. Content was the ad, and we distribute it. So the business, I don't know if you guys remember, this was a minor recession recently, and the business was just tough. I mean, we were incrementally growing it. People were really interested in social media, but we just saw it being really linear, and we were winning. We were like big fish in what was a small pond. So what we saw, in our core platform was like we're not really monetizing the right way. We have this earned media way of like people working with us, where they put on these free sharing tools on their site. And they're getting free traffic through link backs through sharing, and that's great. And then the way we monetize it is we're selling installs of apps and widgets, and they don't have much to do with each other. So we took a hard look at our business, and we said, look, we can be in this business. We actually can scale it, but it's not huge. It's very linear, and it's not really using our assets, right? Because what I didn't tell you is all the while, over the year or two that after we acquired AddThis, we were really successful. So. Now AddThis has grown from 200 million unique users to reach to 1 billion. So for those of you guys that don't understand those types of numbers, Yahoo reaches about 650 million unique users on a monthly basis. So we're bigger than Yahoo, and we're like, but we don't make that much money, so what's going on? Like, this sucks. So we built this massive analytics engine, and at a point, we're processing terabytes and terabytes of data. We have more information than Yahoo. We can process this information. What are we going to do? And so what happened was, we said, well, we're already servicing these advertising clients with these social media campaigns. Why don't we try something different? Why don't we actually use our data, use our engine, and build this targeting platform? That was the concept, at least. And what happened was this: we lucked out. There's a seismic shift in the industry where basically there's these things called ad exchanges that came up, where all these publishers dump all of their squares, their ad space, their inventory into these exchanges. So billions of impressions, and we could actually sell our data and like segments of audiences. There was a marketplace for what we were good at. So we kind of decided in 2009, wow, this is something that uses what we're good at. It's a $1 billion opportunity. Let's go after it. We were lucky, a couple of our investors actually had companies we could work with to try it. They were buying it, which was awesome. And actually my brother, who just walked in the room, was the guy who had built that product, the audience platform. And we're like, hey, dude, we're switching in November. So we're going to turn off the widget platform. We're only going to use AddThis, because that's the main driver. That was like part one, where Digital Bob came in, and Justin had to deal with the angry mob. And then part two was, we're going to shut down our old advertising business and spin up this new targeting business, and you have to build it and launch it in Q1. So he was very pleased about that, and did it anyway. And that was it. So the big pivots we had were, it's interesting because when you look back at it, we still serve publishers with sharing tools, which is what we started doing. It's a broader set of tools. We still serve advertisers by helping them through paid campaigns reach their audience. It's just a bigger play, so we've kind of like expanded our play, but to do that, we literally had to ramp down a platform. Our widget sharing platform was Launchpad that had hundreds of thousands of developers, and tell them, go to add this, and you have X months to do it. So we had to create a huge set of documents, call them up, call NBC Universal, say, hey, yeah, there's 20 properties that are using our tools. It's not going to work. It's like literally going to turn off in a year, so you're going to have to go through this crazy process, and we bit the bullet and did it. So I guess the quick lessons learned, I would say, for us are, you just have to be willing to be brutally honest about everything and say, look, some things are working, some things are not. For us, it wasn't that it wasn't working. It was almost like what Aaron said. It was like, it just wasn't that great. Like, it was okay. I mean, we had one arm of our business. Our chairman is really fond of saying that one of our businesses, like bionic arm, we have 1 billion uniques, right? We're as big as Yahoo, yay. And then we have another arm of our business, which we talk in millions. So billions and millions don't, quite jive. And so we were willing to take the risk. We thought we had a big set of assets, and we made big moves. And so it's paid off so far, and it's been good. But I think you just have to be willing to change. As an entrepreneur, you're incredibly schizophrenic. That's your job, is to be a professional schizophrenic. So like, everyone will tell you, you got to be focused. You got to tell everyone that your idea is right. You got to stick to it no matter what, but be willing to change any minute, right? Like, that doesn't make sense. Or you go in and you're writing your first incorporation docs. It's just you. You feel really awesome. You print out your business cards. It's my company, and you walk in and you're like, and make sure you have restricted stock and invest over 4 years. So in case you fire yourself, you don't get all the stock, even though you're writing the document. Like, that doesn't make sense. So I guess learn to be a schizo professionally, and you'll be good at this.
So with that, I've got time for just 2-3 questions for any panelists, either on this topic or in general. So please, sir.
In general, when you guys have had a product that's not going well at launch, when do you determine whether it's a pivot point or it's like a marketing problem? If users aren't building up, hey, it works for me, right? I think it's great. Not building users, how do you ask the question why before you pivot?
I think it depends on the product. Like, if you're, okay, so let's say you take a product that has an established business model, like a SaaS model, or like there's an actual lifetime value to it. I mean, that's a different type of, it just depends. Like, can you be more specific? Like, is there a product you're thinking about, or just?
Yeah, my product, but
so
it's called wheremark.com. It's like a social location bookmarking.
Mm-hmm.
Mark it on our version of Google Maps, share with a friend on Facebook. User adoption, not great after a couple articles online and stuff. Wondering, how do you make the decision? Do we keep pushing, or do we change?
I mean, I guess part of it's going to have to, because when you have a sample size that's really small, it's noisy. So part of it, I have to be honest, like for me personally, and I'd love to hear how all of you guys answer this, but I would say like the easiest way to do it is, do you have a user base that's like a couple people, how many people, like 100, 10, whatever it is?
Right now.
Okay, let's say that. Email them. Like, honestly, just email them and talk to them. And you'll hear in their voice, is it like a nice to have or a have to have? Because the reality is, on web products in particular, most people go to like 5 sites on average a day regularly. So like a big driver for a lot of people, even like big businesses, like these guys have a big booming business, is like email clients, So they go to their email every day. They take advantage of that phenomenon. So are you part of the everyday flow? And are you like important to them? Or are you just like, oh, that's really cool, I bookmarked that thing, awesome, you don't need to do that anymore, Just ask if you're at that sample size. That's my advice.
It's so